Hi everyone, my name is Rachel Thomas. I am editor at SME Media. Today I'm at the Manufacturing Technology Series Southwest here in Dallas, Texas. I'm here with a very special guest, if you'd like to tell them who you are.
Sure, and thanks for having us, Rachel.
Yeah.
My name is Boris. I'm with UiPath. I am involved with the strategic engagements around manufacturing and industrial operations, basically the manufacturing guy at UiPath. And we're one of the sponsors, and we're thrilled to sponsor. It's a great event. We're really excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being one of our sponsors, one of our special sponsors, and doing this daily wrap-up video with us today.
Sure, happy to help.
Yeah, of course. So, looking at the Manufacturing Technology Series, have you been able to attend all 4 of our shows this year, or?
I have.
Okay,
so
great.
I've been lucky enough to get to all of the events, and they all have some uniqueness to them, just because you're distributed around the country, and different parts of the country function differently. The one thing that seems consistent to me from one to the next is just a lot of curiosity. I mean, from the folks that are here to actually present what they do, to the folks that are here to see it, a lot of good conversation, a lot of curiosity, a lot of great presentations.
Awesome. So looking at the Southwest one today, what are some good conversations or just things that you've been hearing on the floor?
So I did a presentation about what we're doing in manufacturing, and a whole team led by the plant manager from a manufacturer came over and said, "This is us. These are the problems we have." And what we really do, and my team does at UiPath, is more around engage to understand the problems they're trying to deal with, to figure out if we have a way to help. Because if we don't, manufacturing is very hectic. You got to get out of people's way and let them advance. But when you can actually have a conversation with operations leadership in the markets that we're going after, the manufacturing facilities, where they're waiting for an email from me to set up time to come and visit them and actually walk the floor and understand their process. I mean, it really doesn't get any better than that from my perspective.
Yeah. So your first session today, you talked about evolving technology in the manufacturing space. So, figuring out ways to automate and implement AI, that could be kind of scary, or, for people or for companies. So what are some small or some baby steps or just ways for people to, slowly integrate those things?
Well, so Susan Carlock was going to be here. She had a flight snafu. Actually, so she's founded an AI company that mentors skilled trades.
Oh, okay, nice.
And she texted me she couldn't make it because she was on a plane that when they backed it into the alley, they saw it was dripping hydraulic fluid from an engine. And apparently nobody noticed it until they loaded the plane, pushed the plane, sat in the alley, they tried to fix it and bring it back. So she's got an approach that says, look, if we could just accumulate tacit knowledge from people to make it available to novices. And it's a very low touch way of driving value. At UiPath, we bring robots and agents and orchestration, this digitized value stream math. That's a way to say, look, I can go into a hotspot, into an area, and I can focus and I can drive things. Talk to TDK Sensei, and they've got some really cool sensors and equipment. They do this kind of big brain, little brain thing where they have algorithms running at the edge, more complex algorithms in the cloud. Those algorithms reinform the edge. These are things that can literally be built into the machine, built into the process, done very simply. And the last panel was really about how, we talked for an hour, and they never talked about getting rid of people. They talked about getting rid of mundane work, which is kind of soul-sucking work, and getting rid of decision latency to allow people's creativity to flourish. So there's tons of ways to do it. Manufacturing is a great place to do it because they don't put up with the BS associated with, conference room pilots. And there's just data and opportunity everywhere from my perspective.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, for people who, have that fear of, AI is just going to take my job, or, automating processes is going to take my job, what do you have to say to kind of dispel those fears?
So in 2014, I started at GE. I was a CIO for Advanced Manufacturing Strategy, and I ran a tech center in Michigan, Van Buren Township, about 1,000 people at the tech center. And we would do all hands, we'd talk about manufacturing. And I told them then, because think back to 2014. 2014 was learn to code, you're going to lose your manufacturing job.
Mm.
right? What are we talking about now? Learn to weld, because all the coding jobs are disappearing to AI. And what I told people is, if your only value proposition is that you're picking up a piece of paper and moving it here, you're picking up a piece of data and moving it here, you're really doing robot work. If your job were to be on a plant floor somewhere to pick up a part from here, carry it 10 feet and put it there on another skid, someone's going to find an AGV, a robot, a forklift, or a way to automate that, because it really doesn't bring the value out of the human, the ingenuity. So if you consider the fact that there are a lot of things humans do that humans shouldn't do, that they're not good at, that are mundane, that aren't invigorating in the sense of a job, this is the opportunity to say, look, let's get rid of that and let's use ingenuity and let's use humans to do things humans are really good at. And I think that protects the job, right? People who use AI will take jobs away from people who don't use AI, because it's like saying, I don't want to use a computer or a cell phone. I mean, that would be an absurd thing to say at this day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's an audience member who had a good question about, establishing trust amongst colleagues and amongst the people on the shop floor. So what are your thoughts on that, and how can people, build upon other people's strengths and skill sets?
This is a great question, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on today that's like we're not going to cover in this discussion around trust and around how people interact with each other. If you expect people to do things with 100% reliability that humans are not built to do,
Yeah.
they're going to let you down. And that doesn't make them bad people. That doesn't make them lazy. Doesn't make them stupid. It just means we're tasking them with things that they shouldn't do. So we start to create fractures in the trust that we have between workers, because like I asked you for this, Rachel, why didn't you get this to me? And what I don't understand is you had 1,000 emails drop into your box. You had a customer screaming in your ear for something that was late because it was buried in 900 deep in the email, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And that surfaces tension between individuals. If we knew that the systems were taking out that level of mundane, if we knew that the information coming across was reliable and valid, we would build foundational trust. And I think, frankly, we'd get a little more time to talk to each other like humans, instead of kind of grunting at each other and saying, where's my report, right? Well, what are you going to do with the report? Well, they needed it a week ago. Well, it's a week late. Like this doesn't, these discussions at some level don't make sense.
Yeah.
I think human ingenuity is like the only renewable resource. I think when humans are tapped to use that skill, they start to flourish and they start to draw the good out of other people. Just get rid of this BS mundane work. I mean, this technology should be taking everybody's job satisfaction up 3 levels.
And I feel like it's really about making this technology work for you, not like the other way around and controlling you and everything.
I mean, if Siri started barking at you like 5 times a day and giving you bad information in bad directions, like you'd turn the phone off. You'd throw. I mean, I've thrown phones. Sorry, I've thrown phones because they get super frustrating. So it's about using it for the right capabilities, the right tools, the right role, and then being able to trust it. Right. So if you just say AI is going to solve all my problems, you're going to be wildly disappointed. If you say, here are things that are really valuable that it can help with, I think that's a great way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And so looking at your second panel today, talking about getting out of your comfort zone and, just getting out of your own way and looking at your business from a new perspective, what does getting out of your comfort zone mean to you? How would you define that?
So I'm laughing. I'm trying to figure out how deep I want to get into this. So I'm not the kind of person that listens super well, right? And getting out of my comfort zone for me has been about all of the people in my life that have coached me to just maybe be a little quieter and listen, ask better questions, understand. And that doesn't mean agree with everybody, but understand the position, because in understanding the position, you can then say, okay, well, how do we build a level of consensus around what we're trying to accomplish? I'm lucky enough to have a wife that is exceptional at asking really great questions that make me think differently.
Yeah.
Having two daughters puts me in a spot. I think you gotta put yourself in a spot where you welcome dissent and you welcome challenge, because I either have an answer for you or I don't. If I have an answer, do we think that's a good answer? If I don't, maybe we can work on something together. Look, I wish I thought this way 20, 30 years ago. I've grown a lot. I have a term, I won't use it here, I'm a recovering something. But I think that's the key, is always be a student, always be learning, always find ways to improve what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
which should be in service of others, pretty much anything you do.
Yeah, I really think that's the greatest message at the end of the day. Are there any other, takeaways or highlights that, for people who weren't, at the show or attending, what you want people to take away from your sessions?
Not so much my sessions, but from the SME event, man, there are a lot of young, talented engineers who came to visit. Either they came from a school or came from Virginia State, and they're not afraid to ask questions, and they're not afraid to step up, and they're not afraid to raise their hand in these seminars. I think we're in really good hands. I think we have a great crop of young minds coming up that think differently about solving problems and think differently about how to collaborate. And this environment here, and I'm looking across the floor and I can see a very wide swath of people and culture and age and everything else. That's what's going to bring the best out for industrial operations and manufacturing in the US. I'm very optimistic. It's going to be rough. There's a lot of stuff going on that I don't want to diminish, but I think we're in good hands. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Paul. I appreciate you today.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for anybody having interest in what I have to say. And thanks to SME and the team. You guys just do an unbelievable job.
Thank
As
you.
a vendor, UiPath specifically, we got our value out of this in the first event. The rest
Oh, I
was
love
like
that.
icing on the cake. So you really do a great job. We're thrilled that we could sponsor this year, and we
thank
expect
you.
that to grow. Thank you.
Thank you.